We're all searching for it, or people. The ones you can call when you're at the end of your rope. The ones you ask for advice in a difficult stage or deciding on which jeans to buy. The ones who you share dreams and hopes with, who get you to the gym and love your kids like their own. Motherhood was never meant to be a solitary role, and now it doesn't need to be. Here we discuss everything from our favorite kidisms to mental wellness to our best mom hacks and more. Mamas are world changers, and it's time to stop bearing that responsibility alone. So whether you're driving carpool, rocking a sleeping baby, or doing dishes, we're here for you. Welcome to the Village. Welcome to episode 10 of the Village podcast. I am your host, Missy Allred. Today, we are going to be talking about our thoughts and just how powerful they are, how many different things they affect, and how we can start to change them so we can start to change the outcomes of our lives and the way we view the world. One of the popular models in the coaching world is be, do, have. And this is pretty much opposite to what most of the world thinks and believes, which is have, do, be. What this looks like is have, do, be is once I have something, once I have the money I want, once I have the beautiful, perfect house, once I have the well-behaved kids, then I will do the things I want to do the things that give me more of the results that I want, so I can then be the person I want to be. And this is completely opposite of what actually happens in our brains, because having something does not determine what we do or who we will be. How many times have you gotten to a goal and you may have celebrated for the moment, but it didn't really change anything? For example, I always pictured myself as a mom and as a wife and being home with my kids and taking them to the park and doing all the mom things. And somehow it still doesn't feel like enough if I'm not doing the work I need to, the thought work, which is what we're really going to get into today. I have the life I dreamed of, and it doesn't feel like enough. It doesn't make me do all the things and be the person that I thought I would be. Having does not equal being. We have to flip this completely on its head and work the opposite way. We need to start by being the person we want to be. And that can exist right now. That's the beauty of this, where in the other direction, be was the ultimate goal, right? We were trying to be somebody. We can do that right now. Being is made up of our thoughts and our emotions. And we're going to get more into that. That's really what we're going to focus on. But we can be the person we want to be right now. That person that we want to be does the things that give us the results that we want to have. This is where real change comes in, if we can focus on this state of being. All of a sudden we have the motivation and the consistency and all the things we need to do the things that we want to do. If I want to be a person who keeps promises to myself, then I'm going to do the things that I keep telling myself I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up when my alarm goes off. I'm going to get to the gym. I'm going to get X, Y, and Z done today. I'm going to make sure I take time to take care of myself so I can better take care of my kids. I'm going to invest the time and money into becoming a better version of myself, into taking care of me and my thoughts and my health, my physical health, my mental health, I'm going to be brave enough to reach out to other people and take care of my social health. Being creates doing and having, not the other way around. And I want to show you a little bit more about how this is true and also how to do it. So we're going to use another coaching model, which is, it has 5 parts. So the first part is our circumstances, then our thoughts, our feelings or emotions, our actions, and our results. And the whole idea behind this model is that circumstances are neutral. We give them meaning, and the meaning we give them is what ultimately determines our results, the way our life is turning out. Let me give you an example. Let's say your toddler wants to get themselves food and they pour themselves a glass of milk and it goes everywhere. It is so easy to think that this circumstance is bad. They should not have done that. They should have come to ask for help. But remember that I said that the whole idea behind this model is that circumstances are neutral. That means that there's no emotion to it. There's no meaning to it. It just is. This is what happened. Neutral is you can give a definitive yes or no to it. So the circumstance is your toddler tried to get themselves milk and spilled it. It's not that they didn't ask for help and they should have done this. That's a thought, okay? Which is the next part. The next part is our thinking. What meaning are we giving our neutral circumstance? And this is where things can go so many different directions. I'm going to give you 2 examples with this one circumstance so you can really see the outcomes. Probably your automatic thought, because it's my automatic thought, is they should not have done this. They should have asked for help. Now there's this giant mess for me to clean up. And I immediately go to the feeling or emotion, which is the third part of this model, of frustration, annoyance, maybe even anger, because now I have this mess I have to clean up and I'm running behind, right? There's so many. Do you see all these thoughts? That's a lot of thoughts, but the circumstance is still the same, that they spilled the milk. But I just attach so much meaning. I just put so much emotion to it. And how do I then act when I'm thinking these thoughts and now feel frustrated and annoyed and even angry? I probably yell at my kid. I probably huff around for the rest of the day. I probably keep this instance in my mind and make myself a victim to it, where I think about it the rest of the day of, this is how my day started. And if it started differently, the day would have gone so much better. And that now becomes the hinge point of how the rest of my entire day is going to go, when it really was a few minutes. Those are my actions. And if those are my actions, what results am I going to get from my day? Probably not good ones. If I'm in victim mode of thinking that everything happens to me, that I have no control and everything is going wrong, I will see the whole day is wrong. I will all of a sudden have a bad day instead of a bad moment or a hard 5 minutes even. My kid is maybe going to act different because their day didn't start great because it started with mom yelling at them. Do you see how our thoughts are what determine that? Let me give you another example to really hit home of the fact that it is not the circumstance. We're going to take the same circumstance, though, of your toddler trying to get themselves food, pouring themselves a glass of milk, and it's spilling all over the floor. Instead of thinking all the thoughts we thought before, we could instead think, I'm so glad that they are learning to be independent. Or maybe we could think, yep, this is a learning experience. And now I get to show them some natural consequences where if they spill it, now we're going to learn how to clean it up. All of a sudden, that completely changes things. Our circumstance did not change. But can you feel the difference? Right? That's our next part. Our thoughts determine our feelings. If I'm thinking, this is a learning opportunity, look at them internalizing these lessons that I've tried to teach them of being independent and problem solving. Oh, I might still be a little bit frustrated because I still have to clean up the mess. That might still be a thought in there. But mostly I'm feeling maybe grateful or maybe excited or helpful. That completely changes things. So remember, our next part is now actions. When I'm feeling grateful or helpful or excited, how am I going to show up? How am I going to act the rest of the day? I happily grab a towel and show my child how to clean this up. I can then move on with my day. And all this has to be is a moment. And now it's not even a frustrating or difficult moment. It's a learning moment. It might even be a happy moment where I have taught my child a new lesson and they've learned something new, and I'm just grateful for that opportunity to connect and teach. Oh, it changes everything. And then what are the results you get? The results are it's just a moment. The results are my child got to learn something new. The results are that I was able to have another instance in the book where I showed up as the mom I want to be, which brings us back to being. Remember, I said that being is our thoughts and our feelings. If I want to be a calm mom, a patient mom, a helpful mom, a teaching mom, whatever it is that you're trying to be, what do you need to be thinking and feeling? So let me give you 6 different thoughts that have been very helpful for me in being the person, and particularly the mom that I want to be. The first thought is, I've done that too. And this is from Tessa Romero. We can even use this in the context of the spilled milk. Of, I've done that too. Have you poured a glass of milk and spilled it? Heck yeah, I have. How many times have I done that? I've done that too. Have I been so frustrated that I threw whatever was in my hand? Yeah, I have. Have I been so overwhelmed and frustrated with something that I'm trying to do that I start to cry? Yes, I have. Have I thrown a fit because things aren't going my way and it was just the last straw and I couldn't keep it in anymore? Yes, I have. So many of these things that our kids do, man, we have done them too. And if we can step back and think that, we are now in a place where we can feel something completely different. If I'm thinking, I've done that too, and I can even say that out loud to my child, I've done that too. All of a sudden, I feel compassion. I feel understanding. And I'm going to respond in a very different way. I love this thought so much. And it's one that you can use so often, not just with your kids, but even with your husband. One of the examples I think that Tessa gave is your husband forgetting to take out the trash when you ask them to do it. And you can be frustrated, which is my go-to response, is frustration and annoyance, and he should have remembered. Or I can think, I've done that too. I have totally forgotten to take out the trash, or do the dishes, or I was in the middle of one thing and something happened and I ran to the next thing, and 3 hours later I come back and, oh, yep, the laundry's still sitting in the washer without even being started or without being switched over. My goodness, have I done that too. I love this one. It just puts you into such a better place where you can be so much more understanding, and that pause is just so important to being more patient. All right, the second thought is, help me see this differently. This one is from Amber Smith, I believe is where I got it from. This one has become almost a prayer for me, where when I'm in a difficult situation, whether that's a single moment of frustration or a more long-term circumstance, being able to say, help me see this differently, and have that be something that I specifically ask God for help with, has been enlightening. It's been enlightening, and it's been a way for me to take a step back and be more patient with my circumstance and see the bigger picture instead of being so focused on how difficult it is and how many things it's affecting right now in the moment. Third is, I might as well. This one is also from Tessa Romero. And this one is just in the moment, those little things that add up that is so easy to be frustrated by. For example, when you walk past the bed and there's 4 dishes sitting on your nightstand or your husband's nightstand, and you could go, he should have taken care of these. I should have taken care of these. Why didn't anybody else see this? Instead, you can think, I might as well grab them. I might as well pick them up. I'm on my way past the kitchen anyways. I might as well do that. I might as well grab this toy in the kitchen and bring it back to the toy room or family room or wherever it goes while I'm walking. I might as well give my child the benefit of the doubt. I might as well take the time to read the book now instead of in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Again, this one is so helpful in just giving pause and not letting the little things pile up, both mentally and physically. This mindset, I think, is actually really helpful in being able to kind of keep up with your house a little bit better. Here's a little mom hack in there for you, is never leave a room empty-handed. Where if you're in the kitchen and there's something in there, as you're leaving, just grab it and take it to the next room. Then things don't pile up quite as much throughout the day. As you're walking back and forth anyways, if you just have a couple things in your hands, you're usually walking past wherever it needs to go, or at least closer, and you can kind of pick up as you go throughout the day instead of having quite so much to do at night or whenever your pickup is. Anyways, that has been a really helpful little tidbit for us. All right, thought number 4 is, what would I need? This goes along a little bit with what we were saying earlier of I've been there too. I've done that too. Because it just puts you in the other person's shoes. For example, one of my sons in particular gets very frustrated when he can't do things the first time. And sometimes he won't even try, and he is very quick to say that he can't do something. And my natural response is to get very frustrated with him and say, you haven't even tried. Like, just try again. It's no big deal. Because in my mind, it isn't, because I've now mastered that thing. However, when I'm in a similar situation, when I'm doing something new, when I'm doing something that I am still trying to figure out, especially when I'm starting in a place where I am not mentally and emotionally resilient already, when I'm starting kind of from a difficult place, if I've had some rough moments throughout the day, and then I'm going into something new and challenging, I get frustrated so easily. And if I can remember that I've done that too, and then say, what would I need? Probably I would need someone to tell me that I'm doing great, to maybe give me a little bit of guidance in how to do it instead of letting me fend for myself. I might need someone to just give me a hug. That's something that I have found is actual magic with my kids, is giving them more hugs. When I'm having a hard day, when I'm feeling emotional, when I'm feeling burned out, I need someone to come give me a hug and just tell me it's going to be okay, and that, yeah, this feels hard. Like, just validate me and let me feel the emotions in the heart for a minute so that I can move on. We kind of give adults this permission to break down, but we don't really give kids that same space. And I think if we can remember that they are feeling the same emotions, they're probably having similar thoughts as we are. Their circumstance may be different, but the thoughts and feelings are the same. It gives us a little bit more compassion and understanding for what they're going through. But we forget how difficult that thing was because we've moved past it, because we've mastered it, or because it hasn't happened in so long that we forget that at one point it was difficult for us. So asking yourself, what would I need if I was in that situation? If I was thinking those things and feeling those things? And this is where teaching your kids to understand their emotions and understand their body is really, really important, because if your kid can say, I'm so disappointed, that makes it so much easier for us to know maybe what they might need, because we know how we feel and what we might need when we're disappointed. So I've done that too, but I felt that too. I felt that yesterday. I felt that 20 minutes ago. Oh, it just gives us so much more room for pause and connection and patience. Number 5 is I have time for everything I want to do today. I love this thought. I repeat this to myself daily because my automatic thought, again, is I don't have time for this. I'm too busy. I have too much going on. So I guess this is kind of like a twofold thought of I don't like busy. I learned this from my coach, where she doesn't say, I've had such a busy day, or I'm so busy. She says, I've had a full day. I have a full life. It's a full week. And it takes out that feeling of rushed and frantic and overwhelmed. Like, I almost want to just start shaking when I think, oh, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I don't have time. Oh, I don't like that feeling. But if I can say it was a full day, I feel this sense of satisfaction. I might still feel that exhaustion because, man, we were just running from thing to thing, and I'm tired and I'm ready for the day to be done so I can rest. But I also feel fulfilled and happy instead of frantic and overwhelmed. So that's kind of one part of that. But then I have time for everything I want to do today. And this has kind of a background element of prioritization, because I can't literally do it all. I have a finite number of hours in the day, just like you, and I can't literally do it all, but I can do everything that's important to me. And I've also found with this thought that I tend to be more intentional with my time. I tend to spend a lot less time scrolling because I don't actually want to be doing that. What I want to be doing is reading to my kids or learning the thing about electricity that they asked me about 3 days ago, or I want to be cleaning my house so I feel that my outside space is more a reflection of my brain. I feel a little bit more balanced that way. I want to be just sitting down and reading a book because that actually sounds much more relaxing than scrolling on Instagram endlessly. I have time for everything I want to do. And so that also comes with being clear on what it is that you want. And I'm totally a type A personality where I plan out my days. I like have my physical planner that I have everything written out that I do every single week. But I think part of why I love that is because I've gotten more clear on what is important to me, the things that I want to get done, and it's more likely to happen. All right, my last thought for today is I wonder why. And this just puts me in a place of curiosity. I love feeling curious because often curiosity is replacing frustration or annoyance for me. And this kind of comes back to some of the other ones we've talked about of I've done that too, I felt that too, what would I need? But I wonder why. I wonder why my son is throwing a tantrum right now. I wonder what's causing it. What's behind it? What is it that's going on in his head? What is he feeling? Curiosity. So many of these are just to have you slow down, to give you that pause between the circumstance and the action. Because so often we go straight from circumstance, whatever happened, to a reaction. But there is this space, no matter how small, there is a space where we make a decision. That decision might be to not make a decision, and so you just act. You react. You don't act. You react to the situation. But there is this space where you pause. And if we can lengthen that pause, we're so much more likely to act, to be the person we want to be. It gives us time to think and feel before we act. And that's really the point of these is let's widen the space before your action. Let's take the time to be in thought, to be in emotion, to be the person we want to be the mom you want to be, that you are. But it takes the pause to be that person. So I hope that was helpful. Really fast, just a recap of those 6 questions. I've done that too, or I felt that too. Number 2 is help me see this differently. Number 3, I might as well. Number 4, what would I need? Number 5, I have time for everything I want to do today. And number 6 is I wonder why. I hope these were helpful for you and you found maybe a new thought that you want to think often that you're just going to keep in your back pocket to pull out as much as you can. And that would probably be my suggestion is to pick one thought that really stands out to you and have that be the one you focus on for now. You can always add in more, but if you can really focus on one, you're going to be more likely to use it and utilize it to its full potential. If this was helpful for you, next week, the doors to the reset are reopening to start beginning of April. And this is a month-long program that helps you reset your nervous system, reset the way you think and feel so that you can be the mom you want to be more and more often. It also gives you a chance to connect with other women and just have a little reset throughout your day because you get this fabulous adult conversation with other moms who get it, who are right there with you, who are trying and doing the things and being the women they need to be the moms they want to be, to have the results they want with their relationships with their kids and to teach their kids the way they want. I'm so excited for this. If you want a little taste of what this looks like, right now in my stories for the rest of this week, I am running a free challenge that is just giving you little bits of what I give inside the reset. So go check out my stories and keep your eyes out for the cart being open again next week. This is a transformational month that we will have together, and I cannot wait for you to be in there. Thanks so much for listening. If this episode was helpful, I would also love it if you would share it. The more people that can get these tools, the better, because they are life-changing and they don't just affect you, they affect everyone around you when you put them into practice. And that just spans so many ripples, so many generations. Thanks again for listening. I will talk to you next week. Thanks for joining me on this week's episode. I would love to hear your thoughts on it, so message me on Instagram at @themissy_allred. There is always room in our village, so if you enjoyed it, will you please send it to a friend or leave a rating and review? Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next episode. Thank you for being here. I'll talk to you next week.